Is there any better way to start the day than with that bugle? Please.
Absolutely not. Let's go, baby. That bugle means it's time to get on the ball, baby.
Debbie Hammer is first in the huddle. Way to go. Representing JA in the race. Very nice. So Thursday, right?
I got one shout out from yesterday, though, before we get going, is the national nonprofit love that happened on in my timeline yesterday was unbelievable. I have never seen so many people talking about the nonprofits that they're involved in, the things that they've done for their community, the people who work for them. It was an outpouring of love for National Nonprofit Day.
I agree. I saw lots of people take that idea, blast it to their audience. Mona out in the Bay Area, California, which her husband is a football coach.
I know Mona and I had a virtual coffee. She's absolutely phenomenal, and I look forward to meeting her husband at some point.
She's a dynamo. Thank you, Dan Nelson, for the introduction there. But speaking about LinkedIn, Howie Croft posted something yesterday, which is like unbelievable. Shay's going to show us the picture, I think. First of all,
oh my God,
he is a pizza guru. He loves it. But he tells the story in LinkedIn that this is Joe's Pizza. He used to go there all the time. He knew the guy, but lost touch with him. LinkedIn puts them back together with somebody. Long story short, he's in Wynwood, sitting down, having Joe's Pizza. And I blasted him. I said, field trip time, baby. Here we go.
You got to get down to Wynwood.
So they're from Ireland. So,
Anthony Piercy, thank you for coming in this morning from Ireland.
What goes better with pizza than a Guinness?
I mean, yeah, there's hard to beat an ice cold beer with a hot, crispy pizza. Like, oof, that pizza looked legit too. Like,
staying in the vein of, good content and good learning. Yesterday was our third installment of the Get on the Ball live coaching call, and based on the response I got, dude, man, it was completely bonkers. People are digging it, loving it, digesting it, looking for next week. We got full-on engagement, really great stuff. I got this email from Double G thanking us, which is hard to read, but he got called out by somebody else saying your content is inspiring and driving and yada, yada, yada. So thank you, Double G, for being
and all he's doing is taking the principles and applying them every single day. So, I think a lot of the conversation yesterday and that came out of the call was you don't know who's watching. You never really know the reach that you have. That's a great example of not knowing the reach you have until somebody either sees you or puts a post out like that of, hey, I see this every day and it's super valuable to me. So congrats to Greg Goldstein. Great job. Way to stay and be on the ball.
I think that's the significant point. We talked about it yesterday on the call that, you just don't know what you don't know. There's so much going on behind the scenes that if you just stay focused and do the work, the connections and all that stuff will come. We don't normally talk a lot of sports. We definitely don't talk baseball, but two sports items that sort of tickled my fancy. LeBron signs a 2-year
becomes the highest earning NBA player in the history of the NBA with, I think his new extension has like 97 million guaranteed, which brings him to a round number of like 535 million guaranteed dollars from the NBA. So well done, LeBron.
It is a happy day in the LeBron.
No doubt. But you know what? In honor of yesterday in nonprofits, what he's done to develop schools and develop foundations and to use his money to create a much broader impact, unbelievable. And good morning to Gino Valdez, another member of the On the Ball coaching roster. Great to see you here, sir.
Gino is the operations ninja. If your company is looking for someone to help straighten the act out, that is certainly the dude. But what came to mind was incredible night last night. The Mets continue to win. The Yankees had a walk-off grand slam, which is only the third time in Yankee history that it happened. Craziness. Somebody blasts a home run, they walk off and beat Tampa. But the most important baseball news is a gentleman named Easton Oliverson. Easton Oliverson, Little League World Series. They check in at their new hotel. He falls out of the bunk, blasts his head, gets taken to the emergency room. Thank you to the guy that was his roommate. Said, "Oh my God, he's hurt bad." Does that sound familiar, Mr. Mark? Bang, he goes there. Outpouring of support and prayers. And for those who don't believe the prayers work, get over yourself. They do. But even Major League Baseball, his favorite baseball player got involved. Show me Mookie Betts.
And Oliverson, right now, we'll take a look at this video from Dodgers outfielder Mookie Betts, who is sending his best to the youngling. Take a look.
Hey, Easton, it's Mookie Betts. I just want you to know that we are praying for you, thinking of you, and I hope to see you.
Awesome.
So, power of video, Mark?
It's huge. Like, it's the number one way to communicate. And I think communicate's going to be on this list of soft skills that we talk about later on. But, it's a game changer in the way you can communicate. And what that took 30 seconds of Mookie Betts' life. That was a game changer for that kid and his family as he's going through recovery from a very crazy injury. So love to see the tools get used the right way.
Absolutely. With that, we got to wake this thing up.
Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on! Wake up, everybody! Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in there. No more about to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
All right. As you can see above the both of us, there's the pre-order scan code for Mark's book. Yes, Mark wrote a book. Yes, I wrote a book. Yes, we are both authors. But if you don't have our book, shame on you.
And the pre-orders keep rolling in. I had somebody reach out yesterday who was asking for the link. I greatly appreciate the love and support as we approach the launch of that thing.
Good morning, Shari Cedar. Welcome back. So Shari goes on vacation, comes home, and boom, her son eats something where the restaurant made a mistake. You talk about prayers, and boy, did she dodge a bullet. He was in the hospital. He's all better. So shout out to you and your family. Way to get through it. So we've had this conversation about, landing on what is called soft skills. I loved Lori's comment about critical skills, because I think that's how I've hired my whole career. I can teach skill, can't teach attitude, all that kind of stuff. But our man, Simon Sinek, says it better than most. So show me Simon.
I hate the term soft skills. There's nothing soft about them, and when we talk about hard skills and soft skills as if they're in opposition to each other, which is nonsense. It's hard skills and human skills. Hard skills are the skills I need to do my job, and human skills are the skills I need to be a better human being. And it's the skills of it's being, and human skills are the skills that make better leaders. And you're 100% right. So I had the opportunity to spend time with the Navy SEALs, which is a very high performing organization. And I spent time with the head of training for the Navy SEALs. And they have an elite group within the Navy SEALs. And I asked him, how do you choose who gets into that elite group? And he drew on a graph, on a piece of paper, an XY axis, performance versus trust. And the way they define performance is the way we define performance. Do you hit your numbers? It's all the stuff that we're used to measuring, right? The way they define trust is, what kind of person are you? The way they put it is, I may trust you with my life, but do I trust you with my money or my wife? I mean, they're SEALs. Anyway, what he was explaining to me is that clearly nobody wants the low performer of low trust. down here. Clearly, nobody wants that person, right? Clearly, everybody wants the high performer of high trust. Of course, that's what everybody wants. What they learned is that the high performer of low trust is a toxic team member. And they would actually rather have a medium performer of high trust, sometimes even a low performer of high trust, it's a relative scale, over the high performer of low trust. Now, if you think about it in business, we have a million metrics to measure someone's performance, and we have negligible to zero metrics to measure someone's trustworthiness. And so we accidentally keep promoting toxic team members to become toxic leaders who are driven by self-interest predominantly, and are not people who we necessarily trust. We may like them, we may get along with them, but we don't trust them.
So I love this, dude.
This is exactly some of the stuff that I've worked on with City, where we've, instead of promoting people that are hitting numbers or promoting people that follow the sales process exactly the way it's supposed to be done, we're offering people the opportunity to train others. So if you're a high performer in a showroom, a great opportunity for you to learn to become a leader is to train somebody who's not. Let me see the way you interact with somebody else and how much responsibility you take in somebody else's development and how much joy you get out of teaching the process to somebody else. Because if you're not able to do that one-to-one, there's no way you're going to be able to do it in front of a whole store.
First of all, I love your passion when I see you light up when we get on this topic. For me, hiring my whole career, it was always a no asshole rule. Right. I was like, the minute somebody came in there, was blowing their horn about all the things they did, I would ask them questions. Well, give me a case study of somebody that you helped get over the block or get over the line. And they would go, well, I didn't really help anybody.
Right.
I knew right away, man. It was like,
Ooh,
people on my team would go, this guy's unbelievable. This girl's unbelievable. Look at the numbers. I go, yeah, but you know what? They will defeat the people around them on a regular basis because it's the me opera. You know, look at me. It's me. You know?
And I think that the misnomer for a lot of leaders or the promotion of leaders is that you had to have done it in order to coach it or teach it. Right? Yes, it helps to have the experience of doing it. But I was a really successful college football coach. I never played college football. I played high school football. I played football at a very low level, right? These guys were playing at the pinnacle of what the college game was. That didn't hinder my ability to be able to teach them and develop them and make them great. I just had to come at it from a different perspective. It wasn't about what I had done when I played. It was about the people that I had developed or the people that I had been around that I knew worked, that I could teach and transfer to them. So I think we see it all the time where, oh, that person is doing the thing, therefore they should lead everybody to do it. Just because you're great at doing it doesn't mean you're great at teaching it, and doesn't mean you're going to be great at transferring those skills to somebody else.
I love the entire dialogue. You know, for me, the journey was, if I don't look out for me, who's going to look out for me? So I did it. You know, I got results. When people would come up next to me, I always question. I was like, why would I spend 1 minute of my time helping you when I could drive my own shit? For some reason, that was the paradigm shift for me. It was like, you know, listen, yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there. If I help you, you know, so let's get to motivational music. Then we'll get to the list of at least the top 10 that I put together, but hopefully you guys have plenty. fact for you. I was at that concert. That was 1978
Really?
in Jacksonville. It started at the University of Florida, and I was at that concert.
How much of that concert do you remember is the question.
I can tell you this, that the guy that lived next door to me in the dorm, his name was Ed McGovern. Ed lit up the biggest joint I've ever seen in my life. I'll never forget that picture of looking over at him at the concert. Just great shit. So the reason why first of all, I love heart. These are heart skills for sure. Everybody's always thinking about the logic of the brain and the data. That only goes so far. If you can't engage with people and do the things that it takes to really, really adapt, which is the first rule. So what do you suggest here? Should I blast the 10 and then we talk about it?
There's 10, but I think the one that you have to start with is mindset, right? Like everything comes back to mindset, and mindset, I believe, is a soft skill that has to, or a critical skill that has to be developed. It's not a skill it's not a craft. It's not a trade. It's not something that's essential to me doing a job, but it is essential to my success regardless of what the job is. So like when you break down mindset, you talk about belief, you talk about failure, you talk about confidence. If you don't know how to develop those things and you don't have a system and a process for creating a mindset for yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to teach other people how to develop the right mindset.
I'm wondering, do you have room on your roster for another client? That was really good. Good. That was really
appreciate it.
Amazing. I'm going to blast the list because I think you hit it straight on the head. If your brain is all about you, stop. Game over. Tilt. In the day we used to play pinball, tilt. It's over. So here's the list. Anybody wants the list, email me or Shay. Happy to send it to you. Number 1, adaptability. Okay, if you're stuck in the old ways, it's going to be a really expensive ride down. Number 2, emotional intelligence. We could spend the whole show about EI.
Yep.
Effective communication. One of the things we talked about yesterday is how we communicate now is different because the tools are different.
Correct.
A different place to do that. Negotiation, right? Everything's a negotiation.
Correct.
That's really hard.
And it's and to me, that's a skill that can be developed, right? Like it's not something that it's not critical to doing the job per se. It's something that has to be developed through human interaction, through human development and understanding.
So my first one that I would say is always attitude. I've hired attitude over skill my whole time. Attitude affects behavior. Behavior is what you do to create performance. You have
attitude reflect leadership. What movie? Attitude reflect leadership. What movie?
I don't know.
It's another just classic of all time. Remember the Titans, right? That's where Julius looks at
yes,
and he says, "Attitude." Let's go, Gary. Attitude reflect leadership. Like the leadership determines the attitude of the rest of the group, or should be taking responsibility for the attitude of the rest of the group.
They're so good in here. Time management is one of the number one things that we.
To me, that's the number 2 leadership skill that, like, when you go through our 7 principles that we've developed for leaders, first one being mindset, second one being time management. If you can't get your mind right and get your schedule right, forget about helping anybody else. Forget about being able to do anything else. You have to be able to understand how to control your mind, or at least take responsibility for your mind. And the same thing with your calendar.
Yeah, I love that. When I hear you say that, I think of Cool Hand Luke,
What we have
here is a failure to communicate.
Correct.
Which is, boy, you got to get your mind right.
And like when we talk about adaptability and communication, like a great example that I like to point to is Tom Brady. Like if you look at the way Tom Brady talks to people on the team, he doesn't talk the same way to everybody, right? He speaks to Leonard Fournette in a very different cadence and a very different style than he does with Rob Gronkowski or anybody else on the team. So being able to adapt your communication style to meet the people that you're trying to get to understand and receive the message is critical. I don't care whether you're a leader, whether you're a salesperson. I don't care who you are.
Whoa, whether you're a mother or a father.
Correct.
I mean, learning how to speak to people the way they want to be spoken to is a freaking gigantic skill set.
Correct.
Gigantic. Has to be learned, has to be practiced, you have to listen to the clues to know how to do that and then be willing to do it. It's a whole other shift. Number 8, conflict resolution. Guess what? There's going to be conflicts.
Yep.
Lord knows everybody in life, whether it's your mate, whether it's your teammate, whether it's
here's a really simple hack to get resolution of conflict is to lead with curiosity and compassion, right? Ask questions. If your immediate response, and I wrote about this earlier this week when I talked about faith on Monday, if your immediate response to what somebody else says is aggression, then a question needs to be asked. A question needs to be asked of yourself of why does it make me feel that way? And then you should ask the question of them of understanding why that would be their point of view. But if you immediately lead with aggression, which tends to be the older style of leadership, it's that authoritative dictatorship leadership style, which no longer works with today's world, right? So leading with curiosity and compassion as soon as a conflict happens is a very simple way to get to the root cause.
Damn, you're good. Last 2, work ethic. Can't teach it. Either have it or not. You gotta be willing to do the work. You're going to deal with the devil, baby. They're the forces that are against you, distraction, jealousy, all that shit. You got to figure out if you have the work ethic, if you put the work in, look straight ahead, boom, boom, boom. And then last, this is a doozy, collaboration over competition.
Correct.
Wow.
So, and then in a leadership sense of that word, like, you shouldn't have to be the smartest person in the room. You shouldn't be the one giving the answer. You should be soliciting solutions and responses. And one of the things I talk about when I work with organizations that I'm going to talk about with Casey Sherwin today is the 2 absolute killers of an organization or a culture are silence and finger pointing. If you're in a meeting full of 3 people, 5 people, 8 people, and there is no other voice in the room other than your own, you not only don't have culture, you have bad culture, right? You've got a system that's not working, or vice versa. If problems arise and everybody is pointing across the room at whose fault it is, and there's no ownership anywhere in the organization, those are the 2 things that are the most detrimental factors to the success of an organization.
I love it. So Joanne or anybody reach out to me. I'll shoot the list right back to you. Happy to do that. My final comment to you is you have culture. It's either good or bad. There's no middle.
And it either happens on purpose or happens by default.
Yeah. So and one of the things I really love, and I listened to that little blurb podcast that you did with Colin, where you talked about, well, I do everything that I coach. I was doing everything that I taught you to jumpstart you into this. Doing it, I was not a great leader. I really wasn't. I was a great salesman.
Right.
I was like, follow me and you'll make tons of money. That was sort of my so all of these skill sets are acquired.
Yeah.
And they are right there, like pulling apples off the tree. And if you think about that and you visualize, I can take this apple of adaptability, devour it, digest it, and blast it back at my people. They know.
Love it.
There's no guessing.
I love it. I got to get on the road. I got to get to West Palm. Casey Sherwin, I will see you shortly. Have a great day.
This morning to Truist. I'll be at Topgolf, baby.
Let's go. I'll see you guys later.
You go for it too, baby.
Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.